Gentleman yields back. Now recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Ruiz, for his 5
Thank you.
minutes.
Thank you for joining us today, Inspector General Grimm. I appreciate your office's consistent attention to the quality of care that unaccompanied children receive in ORR facilities. I remain deeply concerned about the treatment of unaccompanied minors who are fleeing dangerous situations and seeking refuge in the United States. These children are often forced to flee their homes due to violence, poverty, and persecution, leaving behind everything that they have ever known. I have seen firsthand the conditions these children arrive in. They arrive at our borders with little more than the clothes on their backs and are often traumatized by their experiences and their journey. It is our responsibility to ensure that these children are treated humanely and provided with the necessities they need to survive. I have previously introduced legislation, the Humanitarian Standards for Individuals in Customs and Border Protection Custody Act, that would work to ensure that immigrants coming to the United States to seek asylum are met with basic humanitarian standards, making sure that they have adequate food, water, sanitary conditions, and health screenings for survival. Inspector General Grimm, your office has issued an extensive report on conditions at one OR facility, the emergency intake site at Fort Bliss, where you outlined a number of necessary improvements. Could you provide us with an update on whether you have seen improvements at that facility and other intake sites?
We provided 5 recommendations for the Fort Bliss site. We are in receipt of ORR's response to that report. We are reviewing documentation to determine if the recommendations related to securing qualified case managers, that these case managers get comprehensive training and support, that emergency policy development protocol to allow for input from staff with expertise in child welfare, for usability and search capacities within the UC portal, and for ORR employees and contractors and grant recipients to be informed about whistleblower protections.
And has any of that been implemented?
They are claiming that they have taken steps to address all of our
But you
recommendations.
haven't seen the changes?
And we are reviewing the documentation. We just got it, I believe, yesterday.
So, having examined the Fort Bliss intake site in such detail, what resources do you think your office or Congress can provide to ensure that unaccompanied children are treated humanely while in ORR custody and provided with the necessary medical services they might need?
Well, we are, I'm trying to find, I'm sorry, our request for resources. We are falling behind, Representative, in our ability to keep pace with the growing number of programs at HHS. The President's budget for FY 2025, if implemented, would provide OIG with much-needed resources. We have a legislative proposal in there in A19 that would rebase the Healthcare Fraud and Abuse Control Act. We have a request in for additional resources to provide oversight for the over 100 programs outside of Medicare and Medicaid. We have not kept pace.
Okay.
We have less than 2 cents for every $100.
So clearly there's more resources that are
Yes.
needed. And now I want to turn to the importance of post-release services. Children can require a range of post-release services depending on their individual needs. Many of these minors have experienced violence, abuse, and neglect and require specialized care and support to heal from their trauma. Recent reports indicated that there is some inconsistency of services available to children after they have been placed by ORR with a sponsor. While I am pleased to see that HHS has committed to the goal of extending post-release services to all children after release from ORR care within 2 years, I want to be sure that ORR has the proper resources, training, equipment, and staffing they need to meet these children's needs. Based on OIG's past or ongoing work, could advancing efforts to provide post-release services have a positive impact on the safety and well-being of the unaccompanied children who have been placed in the care of a sponsor?
I'm not, we do not have any ongoing work looking at post-placement services. We do have some ongoing work looking at transfers across different ORR types of facilities. I believe that would include specialized services, mental health services.
Well, HHS has committed to the goal of extending post-release services to all children after release from OR care within 2 years. So I think that we should go back and sense what that commitment is, what's necessary to be productive members of our society, as there is issues that from trauma that can lead individuals into behaviors that are harmful to themselves and to others. And so that's why we need to address the post-traumatic stress. We need to address the sense of belonging, the sense of wellness in an early age in order to maximize the wellness and productivity of those children when they become adults. Thank you, and with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back, and now if the witness will be so kind, we're going to have some wrap-up questions by both the ranking member and myself, and I'll recognize Ms. Castor for her follow-up questions.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you again to the Inspector General.